Okay, you know what time it is. Time for my political life video blog for tonight. You know what I'm saying? And here's a fun fact for you. You know, I was talking about pizza. All you, and everybody knows my dad makes pizza, and some of my friends is making pizza, as far as we're concerned. So who knows? LD Music, all you think about is pizza. Oh, I can eat pepperoni pizza. I can eat hamburger pizza, whatever it is. But according to theblaze.com, here's your worst nightmare ever. And I mean to tell you this, because pizza shop that has been paid fair wages, and closing for 2 years after it opens. Well, everybody else have enough money for this one. For this one, so you just rebuild that. So who knows? So it was. I'll tell you one thing: is it was 2 years ago. A popular pizza shop in Boston opened its doors. It's gonna be a promising fair wages to its employees. But today, Dudley Doe has announced that it will be closing at the end of the year. Uh-oh. Oh God, that's according to the Boston Globe. Just reported. And so, this is a fair wage. And also calls a living wage. It's a wage that's high enough to provide a normal standard of living. But what about the regulars? Yeah, they say at a restaurant they could be losing a community resource and a singular business based on a premise of economic justice and healthy food. According to according to Boston Globe, you can check this out at on the web at bostonglobe.com and click on Metro and see what it has in store. But here's the story you ought to know by now. Picture this in your mind, according to bostonglobe.com. And I know it's a newspaper, but it's a website, but who knows. Says the restaurant has tried to pitch itself as pizza with a purpose. The restaurant offers above average pay as well as culinary and leader training. Dudley Doe is you guessed it, offshoot of Haley House, a non-profit organization. It's based on Boston's South End and Roxbury neighborhoods. It provides food and housing to lower income residents. Oh yeah, I have no clue whatsoever. Now, the shop is popular among residents in the area, but it's not breaking even. And that puts the stress on Haley House. Oh well, this is gonna be huge. Huge for now. Now quote this, Bing Broderick. Betty is the executive director of Haley House told the Boston Globe, yes, says that the challenge for Dudley Doe was to support itself. And the pizza shop is attempted to put a social enterprise model into action. And here's now you know that may not so smart about this one because the analyst of this business could be operations and trends. The Haley House board tried to determine that it could not continue to subsidize the pizza shop without jeopardizing on its own. Yeah, on its own efforts, what say. There's more of this one. Now, Luther Pickney. Betty's a team leader at Dudley Doe in Boston, Massachusetts, says, I don't think anyone is looking for, who, looking as a failure. As a failure. And you know why? Because it's an experiment. And some very good things came out, and that, you guessed it, and such as skill building for staff and being in this building. At the time, just at the time that gentrification and changes in this whole community. Sounds simple to you? Well, who knows? Now here's the wage battle for you. A fair wage is just one piece of the social enterprise model that has businesses and employees and politicians and try to pit against each other. And what about the other issues, including pay, leave, and other benefits? Oh, hello! The current of this federal minimum wage is $7.25 for an hour. And guess what? It hasn't increased since back in 2009, according to the Department of Labor. Now, some of the states and areas have higher minimum wages, and it has cost too much money, about $12.50, according to this District of Columbia. And business has, you guessed it, it gets higher in every single day, and a state minimus are required to pay employees at the higher adopted rate. And you might probably remember back in 2012, it's about 200 fast food workers in New York City and other parts of the country, including my hometown, Omaha, Nebraska. It just looked like Subway and McDonald's to me. But it took to the streets demanding higher pay. And what about Burger King on 34th Street and several dozen workers to try to support this chant? Well, ask this question. New York Times quote this: "How can we survive on $7.25 cents?" Well, guess what? Just like I said, at the same time in New York City, New York City! Sound like a commercial. Now, New York just tried a wage in $8 back in 2014. And the current minimum, $900.74 to, all that. According to National State Conference of State Legislators. So, how can the fair wage model work for this one? Well, guess what? I guess it just depends. But so many factors that it has hard to say that the factors including the size of the business, its located and numbers of employees. What about last month? Yeah, you guessed it. Target announced an increase to its minimum wage, hour wage. I have no clue whatsoever. This is from USA Today. Just try to report this. All employees will be paid, you guessed it, $11 an hour starting next month from the current $10. And it goes on and on. The chain last major wage increase in 2016, and when it comes down to this, it went to $10 an hour. What could we go wrong about this one? What about Chipotle's recent announcement? Because it has no clue whatsoever. And according to CNBC, that Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, has been downgraded Chipotle. And it, cuts earnings from 2018 to 2019. So, here's my solution. Now, finally, what is the solution? I'll tell you what the solution is. You have to decide for yourself. You have to decide what minimum wage jobs are meant to be as a career. And why? Because the proponents of fair wages says higher wage increasingly employee loyalty and yield happier workers. But the minimum wage can put a huge stress on the business, causing them to close, and which puts the people out of work. People want to say, we want work, we want jobs, we want. I have no objection whatsoever, because everything else can be civilized. And the moral of my political life video blog story is that Dudley Doe is a popular place according to the Boston Globe, and its employees are being paid a fair wage. And however, being popular isn't going to keep its door open, or I guess you might say that people are being employed. And I'm going to get inside about this later on tonight on my Wordplay Wednesday on the Blaze Radio Network, my radio show, and we'll see what the whole solution is. But I tell you one thing is, you have to do the math of what money, how much you want, how can you save money, or how you buy a job or get a job or whatever it is. You find out what the minimum wage is. Like I said in high school, do the math. See how much it costs. Trust me. And no, I know it's fair, but who knows? But somebody's got to do it. Anyways, that's my political life video blog story, and I'm sticking to it completely. See ya.